Money on my mind, looking for a dime. James Lock in the house, gonna help you shine.
Welcome to the Pool Lock YouTube channel. I'm James Lock. Today we're going to answer two of the Ask James questions of the day. First question is from Paul. He says, I'm really worried about the markets dropping. I'm already retired. How can I help get rid of this concern? So there's more to retirement than just worrying about market drops, right? And corrections and recessions that can affect things, right? So we're really just, in this question, you're really just touching on that one piece of the market dropping, but it's actually way more nuanced than that. So for you, let's talk about bear markets, right? Bear markets and pullbacks. Now, usually with bear markets and pullbacks, you have bonds and bond-like instruments like preferreds, right? And they pay a fixed income payment, whether it's called an interest or a dividend, and that comes to you directly. So in a bear market, those usually don't change or get eliminated, and your income stays exactly the same. So you don't really have to worry about it. So yes, your statements come and your portfolio is down in value just a little bit, and maybe that doesn't feel good, but it shouldn't really affect your retirement income stream, during just a bear market. Now, bear markets come all the time. Sometimes, not even due to economics, just because the market kind of growth gets ahead of itself and now it needs a healthy pullback. The key thing to remember is that bear markets are temporary. History shows us that markets recover, and if you're focused on income generation rather than just growth, you can weather these storms much more comfortably. The dividend payments and interest payments keep flowing into your account regardless of what the daily market prices are doing. But there's also recessions that cause bear markets when the economy actually changes fundamentally. And whereas a lot of what I've said is true, it's a little different with a recession. So yes, bonds and bond-like instruments might have a fixed interest payment or a fixed dividend that's unlikely to change. It really can't change, right, unless there's a bankruptcy or a credit event. So if you've chosen good, solid companies and high-quality bonds for part of your portfolio, that includes bonds and bond-like instruments, well, then you should be fine even during recessionary periods. But the stock side of it is where some things can change in bear markets caused by recessions. Common stock can cut their dividends during tough economic times. The income you're getting from the dividends in the common stocks can change in a bear market. That income can go down, and sometimes significantly. So you've got to be really careful about your stock selection when you're relying on dividend income. So this is where, if you're protecting yourself against a recession, you want to turn around and look at those companies and make sure they're stable, mature companies that really have that long history of paying their dividend consistently, and maybe even a long history of increasing their dividend as time goes on. We call these dividend aristocrats or dividend kings, right? Companies that have raised their dividend for 25 years or more. They tend to be businesses with strong cash flows, dominant market positions, and management teams committed to returning cash to shareholders even during challenging times. The other thing to consider is diversifying your income sources beyond just stocks and bonds. You might want to look at real estate investment trusts, right? REITs, which can provide steady income from real estate holdings. You could also consider dividend-focused mutual funds or ETFs that kind of do the heavy lifting of selecting quality dividend-paying companies for you. So in bear markets, not a big worry, usually with most fixed income investments, but recessions can be a worry on the common stock side. But if you have the right stock holdings, those quality dividend payers with strong balance sheets and consistent cash flow, then it shouldn't be a big worry there either. The key is building that foundation of reliable income streams that can sustain you really through various market cycles. That's an awesome question, and very, very important and timely for sure. If you would like to send in your question, you can do so by emailing them to poollock@poollock.com. And we will move on to our second question, and this is from Zachary. He says, I'm really worried about my medical expenses in retirement. It's extremely hard for me to estimate what it would look like even 15 or 20 years from now. How much of a buffer would I need? All right, this is a big question, right? Medical expenses and retirement, how much of a buffer? It really depends, right? You don't need a buffer if you've planned properly with what I'll call the insurances, right? What do I mean by that? Ideally, making sure you have the right medical insurance because, let's say, Medicare Part A, which is hospital coverage, that's free. Medicare Part B, which is doctor's visits. You have to pay for Medicare Part B. But it's a fixed cost unless you're in a high income earner in retirement. Then you have to pay an IRMA tax, which basically increases the cost of Medicare Part B based on your income levels for the 2 years prior. But most people have A and B out of the way. And Part B payments, those premium payments come right out of your Social Security check. So that's easy and predictable. But here's the thing. There's a lot of deductions and co-insurances that Part A and Part B don't cover. Frankly, convalescent care is only covered for 100 days, and that's only if you meet some very specific qualification requirements. After that, any convalescent care or home health care is completely on you. And we're talking about costs that can easily run $5,000, $8,000 per month or more. So what do you do? What do you need to do, right? Well, first, you need to look at Medicare Part C, which is the Medicare Advantage or Medicare Supplement plan, also called Medigap, right? You don't want to get too deep into the details here, but you need one or the other, Medicare Part C or a supplement. If you have enough income, a supplement typically is better and more flexible because you can see doctors that don't accept Medicare without network restrictions, right? Medicare Part C can work well too, but it's typically kind of like an in-network program designed to cover those deductibles and co-insurances that we talked about. But then you have to get prescriptions covered. And this is where it gets a little more complex. If you have a Medicare supplement plan, you'll probably need to add Medicare Part D for prescription coverage. If you have Medicare Part C, prescription coverage might already be included, but you want to make sure it covers your specific medications at a reasonable cost. All right, so now once you have all that out of the way, now you've got all the basic medical stuff covered with very little out-of-pocket costs for routine care. Your predictable medical expenses become much more manageable. And this is kind of where your income planning becomes easier because you can actually budget for these known costs. But how about that convalescent care and long-term care needs? Again, even with all the best Medicare coverage, the most Medicare can do is cover you for 100 days of skilled nursing facility care or home health care. And usually it's skilled nursing facility care, not custodial care. And here's what most people don't realize. You have to qualify for that coverage by having a qualifying hospital stay first. So now you have to look at long-term care insurance options. And this is really important for your income planning. Long-term care insurance can either be traditional long-term care insurance, or you might look at hybrid life insurance policies with long-term care riders, or even annuities with kind of long-term care benefits. These options can help protect your retirement income from being completely depleted by care costs. Now, if you've covered yourself properly with Medicare Part A and B and Part C, or a Medicare supplement plan, or maybe C and D, right, for prescriptions, and you've covered yourself with some form of long-term care insurance protection, now you don't have to worry about having extra income or a large cash buffer set aside specifically for those medical expenses at all. Your retirement income can be planned more predictably because you've kind of transferred those major risks to insurance companies. But if you have gaps in those coverages, however, now you absolutely need a significant buffer And we're talking about potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars that you'd need to set aside. That money that can't be invested for income because it needs to be liquid and available for unexpected medical costs. Bottom line is proper insurance planning actually makes your retirement income planning much more effective and predictable. Two great questions today. As always, if you'd like to send in your questions, you can do so by emailing them to poollock@poollock.com. If you like what you heard, go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel. I'm James Locke, your retirement income source, and I will see everyone next time.
Money on my mind, looking for a dime. James Locke in the house, gonna help you shine. Retirement is near, don't you live in fear. Listen up, my friend, let me make it clear. Savings in the bank.